Welcome to the Generation Elevation podcast, a conscious, connected platform for those who are ready to manifest their dream life. I'm your host, Elise Riley, a former PT, now motivational speaker, igniting empowerment and transformation all across the globe. Here at Generation Elevation, we are committed to bringing you the most inspiring guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and advice to help you progress closer to living a life of your own terms. Welcome back to another episode of Generation Elevation. Today, I am here with my beautiful friend who I reached out to once upon a time at a recovery center. She was there getting her things and I was coming in and I was just like, oh, you know what? I recognize her from another coach or on the social media world. So I reached out, introduced myself, and then one thing led to another, realized we go to the same gym and we have been friends ever since. So I thought, what better than to have her on my show today? She has such an inspiring story and I'm really excited for her to share this with you all. So with that said, I'd like to introduce to you my beautiful friend, Charlotte.
Hello, Elise. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
My absolute pleasure. So my audience probably has no idea who you are.
No.
So I thought I'd ask you a couple of quick fire questions. Would
Sure.
that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Cool. So how old are you?
I am 49. I've just recently turned 49.
Love that.
Yeah,
and where are you from?
Oh, goodness. Born in England, raised in Australia, but I've been in the country and the last 18 months I've been here on the Gold Coast.
Beautiful. And you have competed, yeah?
I have done one show. I have done the WBFF show in April this year. It's been a bit of a journey, sort of like a 3-year journey, I would say. Mm-hmm. The seed was planted probably, sort of about 2.5 years ago. And then COVID hit, but I finally got to stage April this year, which was pretty exciting. I was in transformation category, and at the 11th hour, I also did the 35 fitness category as well.
I love that. And how did you go?
Did really well. So the transformation category doesn't have first, second and third because everyone has their own journey.
Yeah.
And in the 35 fitness, I didn't make top 3, but I certainly made top 10. So, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I got some feedback because for fitness, I wasn't big. I'm quite a small person. So certainly the feedback was to come back with more of a glute, hammy tie-in and to have bigger quads and, so that definitely takes time. Mm-hmm. It's not a 6-week program to do. Yeah. That is for people that have been in the fitness industry for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And as we all know, to grow, you've got to eat food. Mm-hmm. And then there's a journey with that itself.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I guess speaking on journey as well, I'm really curious, how does one go from just going into the transformation category? Obviously, you've had a huge transformation. So yes. Would it be okay if you shared a little bit about that journey you today?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a mum. I've got some beautiful girls, teenage girls. I'm also a registered nurse, so I've done shift work for many, many years. And that was probably the lifestyle of the nursing. Everyone thinks that it's, all glamorous, Grey's Anatomy kind of lifestyle. But I can assure you it isn't. Late shifts, early shifts, on-call, double time, weekends, public holidays and things like that. So you're putting yourself last, even when you're being a mum, when you're being a nurse, because you're caring for your patients, you're putting them first. And it's quite a lot of the time my nutrition was very, very poor for many, many years, even though you know about the pyramid triangle, you're taught that at school, but what you see and what you learn and what you actually do are completely different things. And that time in my life, I was not eating very well, nutritionally well. I've learned about macros recently, and I was definitely in a calorie surplus without even knowing what that was all those years. And, for over a number of years, I put on some weight, and my top weight was over 100 kilos. Yep. So I had put on 50 kilos as I was raising my children. Yeah. So I basically got to the scales and I stopped weighing myself at 100 kilos. And I ran out of excuses, and so I found myself driving into a gym in Albury, walking in, saying hello to the guy on reception. A shout out to Tom. Tom now works up in Wollongong now. He's moved to a different town. But I just said I want to sign up and I want to have a PT. I have run out of excuses. I need to change my life. And so he pointed in the direction of a PT that was sitting down eating chicken and rice. And
I love that.
Yeah, I know, the classic chicken and rice. So I literally signed up that day and signed up with PT 1 day a week. And I literally said to myself, I'm doing this for me. And I promised myself that I would walk, rain, hail or shine for an hour every day. And I still do that to this day. So, yeah, in that gym, I basically started with the PT. And so another shout out to Ash, and he is the manager of that gym now. He also does PTing as well. He's a power lifter, which I'm certainly not, but he certainly showed me the basics and how to perform exercises effectively. But really he said to me, Charlotte, you know, the first 3-4 weeks you'll come, and if you're going to be true to yourself, you will turn up every day. He said he's seen a lot of people come and go from gyms because the shine starts to not be so shiny after 6, 7, 8 weeks. And so I promised myself I would, and I did, and I didn't give up on myself. And then COVID hit, which was a very stressful time with nursing, very, very stressful, COVID version 1. We didn't know what was coming, like the apocalypse was coming. So my downtime was the gym to de-stress, to get the dopamine and the endorphins to make myself feel good. And I realised that it wasn't just COVID that was a stressful environment, it was everything else in my life, so that I needed to change. So little by little, learning about food, to go in a calorie deficit and doing some walking every day, and also learning about nutrition. I started looking up on the internet about food groups and macros. Then someone told me about MyFitnessPal, so I downloaded MyFitnessPal and I started punching stuff in there. And then the more you learn, the hungrier you get, which then I got down to quite a low weight actually. I went from one extreme to the other, quite interesting. So occasionally I put on my Instagram, you know, sort of memories and things like this. And what I thought at the time I looked good, I actually looked emaciated, would you believe? I went from one extreme to the other.
So you were at like over 100 kilos and then...
Over 100 kilos, and then I got down to 47 kilos.
Whoa.
Yeah, so, yeah, but I wasn't fully understanding the macros and how food is fuel. So then I did more research into that. And in the meantime, I moved from country New South Wales to here on the Gold Coast, and that's how I met you at one of the recovery centres. And then we found out that we went to the same gym together. And then that time I had put on more weight, but certainly had kept quite lean, and the idea of doing a transformation, stepping on stage in a bikini. I hadn't worn a bikini since I was probably 18 myself.
Wow, yeah.
So it was definitely a confidence booster for myself, and one that I had wanted to do for me, for nobody else, just for me.
Yeah.
And I stepped on stage April this year at the age of 48 in a wow factor bikini that was made by another good friend who also goes to the same gym. And that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life. But, you know, I've done it, which also it wasn't to get exposure for anybody else, just it was something that I wanted to do for me.
Yeah.
And it was the only federation at the time that I still know of that has a transformation category.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that.
And I love the fact that that federation has that category. There are other categories in other federations, like there's bikini and fitness and wellness, and so I didn't really fit those categories, but the transformation one was a chance for me to just prove to myself that anything is possible.
Yeah, anything is possible. So you got to a point in your life where you mentioned the words, I have to change my life. I need to change my life.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of like, obviously you had been putting yourself last consistently for such a long period of time, and I know many people listening get sucked into that of society, like saying, you know, don't be humble, don't be selfish. And so it's very much like getting into that pattern of being the good girl, making sure you are putting everyone first before yourself, because if you put yourself first, then it's like seen as selfish. And
that's a lot of people. It's funny that you mentioned that, being, you know, putting yourself first, and everyone thinks that you're selfish. And I found that as I was getting more and more into my fitness journey, for me, more importantly for me, there were a lot of people that were quite critical because they saw the transformation in me and they didn't want me to move forward. And I felt like I got a lot of negative feedback. I actually got fit shamed. So you've heard the term fat shamed, which no one can talk about because it's taboo or it hurts someone's feelings. I actually got fit shamed.
Wow, yeah, I resonate,
And I thought, wow, that person is really negative. They don't want me to succeed. So along the way I have lost some people that I thought were friends, but I have gained so many more positive people that have become friends because they want you to succeed. They want you to lift you up. And it's funny, those that were not wanting me to succeed have since then sort of followed me on my Instagram account.
Of course, always
because
watching.
They're like Pavlov's dogs. They're always watching. They may not post anything on their own Instagram account, but they're always watching.
Yeah, and like I guess for the listeners as well, like talking about like fit shamed, my headphones falling off. So talking about fit shamed, what were the things that they were saying?
You can stop now. You've gone to, you know, you've proved your point. Come and have a burger. I mean, don't get me wrong, I eat burgers. But it was it's
like one wouldn't hurt.
One wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
And also during that process, the PT that I had at the time, I turned up to one session, just having a little bit of a segue here. I turned up to one session, I'd had some wine the night before. And I turned up to my gym session. I had no power. I was sluggish. I wasn't meeting, you know, my goals. And he's just like, "You're performing like shit today. What's going on?" And I said, "Oh, you know, I had one too many drinks last night." And he said, "You know, there's no calories, decent calories, absorbable calories in alcohol." And I'm like, "What?" I was thinking, because I had bought the light calorie white wine, you know, thinking, oh, I'm not going to do any harm. And he actually just looked at me and he said, "Just drunk, wasted calories, Charlotte. Your body's just not going to absorb them as nutrient." Anyway, so he said, "Well, why don't you give up? Have a challenge." And so this was in January and a few years ago. And he said, "Why don't you do February? If anything, it's the shortest month of the year, do Feb fast." So I thought, well, why not? It can't hurt. So I had a diary where I used to put all my training programs in, my little book, which I still have. I still have my books. And I did day one. And funnily enough, I actually went to the bottle shop and bought a bottle of champagne the day I was going to give up. I actually have it here. It's in my kitchen.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I've travelled with it.
Yeah.
So it was a choice I made. So it's not like I had to go to AA or anything like that. It was a change of mindset. I chose not to drink.
Yeah.
And that little reminder of that bottle of champagne, it's in my kitchen. And if I choose to have a drink, I could certainly open it up right now, if you like.
Yeah.
But I have on my journey sort of down the track found that alcohol served no purpose for me anymore in my life. And a lot of it, you know, it's for celebrations, for birthdays, for Christmas, for New Year's Eve, or for when you've had a shitty shift and you come home and you pour yourself that glass of wine.
Yeah.
And I think society has shown us, you know, certainly even with marketing, alcohol's there. It's out there. It's normalised in Australian society. And I think there is certainly a movement and a sway away from that. And, you know, it took me 49 years to work that out. But my fitness journey really took off when I stopped drinking alcohol and I started feeding my body with the right nutrients, the right carbs, the right fats, the right proteins, and really making an understanding of how rest days and training days and eating well and sleeping well is just so much better for your whole well-being, that makes you actually shine from the inside out.
Yeah, 100%. And what I loved about what you just said in regards to making a choice, like your life is a compound of the choices you've made.
Yeah.
And you can only really control what you choose right now. And so I'm curious to know, what are you choosing for you right now so that it will compound in your future?
So I moved from country New South Wales to the Gold Coast because I was wanting to find myself. A lot of people thought that was a pretty radical thing to do. And then COVID version 2 hit again. 10 days after I arrived on the Gold Coast, the borders shut again. So I had this vision that I would be able to freely come and go from the Gold Coast back to the country with family, and then that was taken away from me. So again, immersed myself in my training and my nursing. So this then went stepping on stage, which I was able to do. And now that that has happened post-show, I reversed out of my deficit because I got down to like some crazy numbers, 4% body fat.
Wow.
I was pretty lean.
Yeah.
Very, very happy with what I achieved. I didn't find the prep hard at all. I had some wonderful people supporting me around me. And then post-show, I had a niggle in my left shoulder, but, you know, ignored it for a little while. And then it just wouldn't go away. I thought it was muscular, and then it just wouldn't go away. So being the inquisitive nurse that I am, I went and had an MRI on my left shoulder, and the horrible truth came out that I tore my supraspinatus tendon, and literally it was hanging on by a few threads. So the decision was, do I have surgery, do I not have surgery? And then that has changed my perspective on life again. In order for me to do what I do, I would still love to compete, but that has put a halter on that because I made the decision if I wanted to do that again in the future, or basically, you know, to be able to do daily function of daily life. You know, I want to be able to lift my shopping bags when I'm 80.
Yeah.
So I had lost strength in my left side. And aesthetically, when I look back at my photos, I can actually see the difference between my left and right side.
Yeah.
Very, very minor, but at the time you could start to see the breakdown. I wasn't as strong on my left side. So I made the decision to have surgery, and that was 4 weeks ago. And the rehab has started. So the mindset of being in the gym every day, or at least my structured days, and having my structured rest days, that basically had gone out the window. I had a plan and how I was going to recover, and then what's actually happened in reality has been completely different. It's like when you plan to have babies, you have a birthing plan, and when you're actually having that baby, you're in the delivery room, everything goes out the window. So if I can resonate how I feel now as to what my plan was, everything has gone out the window. So I haven't been able to work, obviously, as a nurse because in order to nurse, then you've got to be able to do full functions. And so the rehab on my left shoulder has been slow but good. And then obviously I haven't been able to do certain weight training. I can't do RDLs with barbells or anything like that. I can't do hack squats because the weight is on my shoulders. I can't use dumbbells to do RDLs because of my left shoulder. So that has been a real struggle for me.
So you can really it's been quite opposite to what you're used to because you've been so go, right?
Go.
And very much in that masculine energy of taking action and all that kind of thing. And now
very alpha,
being forced to be in that flow of the feminine, receiving and very interesting that it's on your left side too. Cause in energetics, usually the right side is masculine and the left side is feminine. So it's that carrying that weight on your shoulders kind of thing. Yeah.
So much so. My God, you hit the nail on the head right there. Absolutely. So the brakes were screeched on for me, and I have been very go, as you said, and very driven and very regimented, very disciplined. But learning that over my journey has opened my eyes to not fall in a heap and not crumble when the brakes are screeched on, because I've learned the pathway. I am now learning to do masculine and feminine at the same time. So I'm learning to slow down, and I'm not going to put on 50 kilos in 3 weeks. I've been mindful of recovery, and also fuel is good food for my recovery. My body is working 24/7 to recover my left shoulder. And I'm in a happy place now, going from one extreme to the other, from not exercising to going gung-ho exercising, and now I'm at a happy medium.
Yeah, it's like just balancing itself out, and it's really interesting, the mindset as well. Like, I think it's really easy, especially in the health and fitness industry, to get sucked into the treadmill, like running really fast on that treadmill, go, and like hitting those macros, hitting the step targets, hitting those sessions in the gym, like making sure you're posting on social media and like showing up as this person and this person. And then, when we finally get that like a little whisper from our body and we are so used to being on that treadmill, it's like, oh, it will be fine. We ignore it. With my clients, I call this the feathers, bricks and the buses. So we get the feather, which is like the little niggle, and then we don't listen to it because it's just a feather, right? And then we get a brick and we're like, oh, that hurt a little bit, but I'll be fine. And then we get hit by the bus, where it's like, we've got to have surgery. We've got to have surgery, and then like not do anything for however many weeks.
Yeah. I certainly got hit by the bus big time. Well, I call it freight train. There you go. But you know what? It has all been a journey, and it's all a learning curve. And I certainly am taking it on board. I'm not just going, oh my God, I'm never going to exercise again. It's built into me now. Nutrition is built into me. So also I was inquisitive about that, and I am now a qualified nutritionist as well. A lot of people along the way would DM me and say, look, can you write me a plan? And I said, look, no, I'm not qualified, so-and-so is, and I would refer them on to this, that and the other person. And then I thought to myself, well, why aren't I qualified? Why can't I be qualified? I've lived through it. I have gone that weight loss journey. I have raised kids. I am working shift work. You know, I do listen to many, many podcasts out there that very, very, very helpful in, it's funny, I listen to podcasts whilst I'm walking, should I say. And also sometimes in the gym, I'm not listening to music. People just assume you've got earpods on and you're listening to music. Sometimes I'm actually listening to podcasts whilst I'm working out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that journey as well, having the masculine side, having the feminine side, and combining those two together is actually not an easy feat to do.
Yeah.
To find that balance. That's the journey that I'm on at the moment.
I think something that's really important to add here as well is a lot of people are trying to find the balance whereby it's even on both sides every single day of their life.
It's not. I can tell you it's not.
It's never going to be an equal balance, and what works for me is different to what works for you and for the listeners. So it's like getting clear on what you enjoy and where you thrive, and then being able to be malleable in that, whereby like you can show up as like you're masculine when you're trying to like get things done, when you need to get things done and tick off some tasks and be reliable and be in that integrity. And then when you have those days of flow, it's like being able to allow yourself to sit in that and rest without freaking out because you're not doing anything in particular. Like I remember when I resonate with your story so much, Charlotte. Like I used to work so crazily when I was back in Melbourne and be training like a maniac and doing my cardio and sprinting and try to hit my numbers for my calories every single day. And like I got injured so bad to the point where like I was running a spin class and I couldn't even stand up on the bike. I just had to like tell everyone what to do because I had PTs after that, and I literally was like crouching down, like pointing to everybody, like this is what you got to do because I can't stand up now.
It's burnout. Yeah. It's burning the candle at both ends. And I honestly could say that I probably did get a bit of burnout prior to me exercising because I was just trying to do so much for everyone and try and please everyone. And I think that's also part of learning and manifesting what you want in your life is to find that homeostasis within yourself.
Yeah.
And as you said, you've got your feminine side and your masculine side. It's not equal. Every day changes. You wake up every day. And also as women, we have hormonal changes all the time. Being an older female myself, I am possibly, I was trying to deny it for maybe 6 months, but I think that potentially being at the age of 49, I am rearing that ugly head of going through that change
Yeah.
as well. I still have my period,
Yeah.
which is great. But, you know, you get the hot sweats and things. But that also happens with females when they get their period as well.
I think it's just like going through the different transitions of life, and it's quite interesting that for you, like you've gone through this huge like surgery as well, and then
surgery, bodybuilding competition, immersing myself in that. And those that know me know that I don't do things half-assed. I set my mind to something and I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And it is a real learning curve, and I take a piece of that away with me every time I tick those boxes. I would like to do another bodybuilding competition, but I had set my goal for 2023, and I may still get there, but if I don't, it's okay.
Yeah.
It is something that I would like to work towards, but I think the most important thing for me here and now is to focus on my recovery and certainly not go 10 steps forward by wanting to do something that my body's not ready for.
Yeah.
Listening to my body. So my recovery has gone quite well. I am not lifting any weights on my left side. But then I'm doing small weights on my right side. I'm just doing resistance training at the moment. But basically daily walks have not stopped. That's part of my life. And certainly the nutrition side of things is I've put myself in a maintenance phase because I've had to slow down. And that's okay too. There's no good time, bad time. You know, I haven't failed in my journey whatsoever. I've just had to adjust to the surroundings that I'm in.
Yeah, definitely. Like you can only really control how you respond to the situations external to you, right? So like, for example, you can't actually control what was going on with your shoulder. Like in your awareness, you only realize what was going on until you had that scan, or you can't really control like what is happening in the world for work and all that kind of stuff. Like you can only respond to those challenges in how you regulate your emotions. And it's like, okay, well, I have the awareness within myself that like I can listen to my body now, and I can see the perspective of this and how this is actually for me, not happening to me.
You're absolutely right there. I mean, that's a really, really good segue to move into, in that everything I've done in my life and that I've shared on my Instagram stories, like literally I started my Instagram account to hold myself accountable during my weight loss phase. And then it transitioned into, I'm going to do a competition. So then it was in the transition towards a competition, the lead up towards the competition. Then, oh my God, the week of peak week.
Yeah.
And it was such a crescendo. I look back now and I think, oh my God, how did I actually do that? And then I was working 100-hour weeks in my nursing job. I mean, it was just crazy times.
It's amazing, like when you put your mind to something, literally, like your body will just follow. Everything will just follow. Absolutely. When you focus, it expands.
Yes, absolutely, it does. And then post-competition, from that little niggle that I ignored to then having the MRI, to realising that I actually was injured and I couldn't move forward until I had this surgery. And now I've had the surgery, and now I'm in the phase of rehabilitation for post-surgery for my shoulder. So again, it's another journey. And those that watch my journey, and I do get a lot of DMs of, oh my God, you're such an inspiration. You know, you've lost the weight, you've done a competition, you've gone through adversity, you've had an injury, you've had surgery, and now we're watching you post-surgery with your journey that way. And it's all about lifestyle balances and where you want to be in life.
And who you want to be.
And who I want to be. And I've learned to be happy with the skin that I'm in. Yeah. You know, I now have literally a battle scar on my left shoulder from the surgery. So I'll carry that with me until the day I die, you know, and it's a lifelong curve, you know. We don't stay in the same place at any given time. I think in order to grow as a person, you adapt to your surroundings and you meet some wonderful people along the way. And that, I can honestly say, is what I am doing right now.
Yeah, that's so cool. And just quickly as well, like in regards to you showing up on social media, like I watched your whole journey, and like I love seeing your stories. I'm one of those Pavlov dogs that you're talking about. Like I can't wait to see your stories every day because you're so authentically you, and you just show up and you're just yourself. So I would love to hear, and I know the listeners would love this too, like what would be your advice to showing up in that authentic way and being yourself? Like,
oh gosh. Well, honestly, I would say don't worry about what you look like on Instagram. You know, there are so many filters. I mean, there are days where I feel like shit and I use a filter because I'm 49 and I can use a filter. And then there are days where I just don't have a filter because, yeah, they're for a reason and they're fun and whatever. But also I put up, you know, my food or my walking, and also remembering that social media is, and Instagram is definitely just a highlight of your life. There's many aspects of my life that I don't put on. Lately I've sort of been transitioning and changing a little bit of that because that's what's going on in my life. I'm not at the gym every day, so people won't see all my workouts. So then, you know, occasionally I'll put something else on. And that for me also, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to lose all my followers because they're not seeing my gym workouts anymore. But in fact, I've actually grown it.
Yeah.
I've actually got more followers now, and a lot of mums out there and some dads. My demographic, when I look at my insights, my demographic has changed. It was younger as I was leading into competition and a lot of gym work, and I have still kept some of those followers, but all my new followers are women and men my age that have gone through my Instagram or found me somehow or through a friend of a friend, and they see the journey that I am on now and they resonate with that really, really well.
Yeah.
So I think the next form of my journey is to potentially, look, whether it be here on the Gold Coast or moving back to New South Wales, I'm in the transition of that right now, and where I follow my happiness. Happiness to me is your core, and finding that balance to find your true self, and then that will shine, and then that will guide you as well. Whether if you really, really want to lose weight, you've got to be able to do it for you, not for anybody else in the entire world. It's got to be for you. And if anything, it doesn't have to be a scale weight. It could be a lifestyle weight, in order so that you can move and be strong in yourself, so that as we age, we can certainly do things that we take for granted, activities of daily living. Like, seriously, having my arm in a sling for the last 4 weeks, getting dressed and undressed
puts it in perspective, hey?
Really puts it in perspective. Like tying my hair, I had to tie my hair to the side, like a pigtail on the side, because I haven't been able to lift my arm. Or going to the gym and asking people to put my hair in a ponytail. Yeah. Asking for help. That's just been the weirdest and most funniest thing that I've had to do.
That receival piece too, like allowing others to help you, or like give back.
Others to help you, yeah. And then giving back. And no one minds. They're like, yeah, absolutely. But it's also going through this rehab, and I would look in the mirror going, imagine if my arm never worked again. How would I cope? And I did go through a grieving phase over the last couple of weeks of literally not being able to move my arm, and it was like someone had chopped it off. Yeah. I'd woken up overnight and someone had chopped it off. Yeah. And I've had to adjust my life, hanging washing out on the washing line with one arm.
It's almost like a symbolic synchronicity of just slowing everything down.
Yeah. Totally. It has forced me to just slow down, and I'm comfortable with that. Yeah. And also not looking lean all the time. That's not the be-all and end-all.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. But you know what? People look at me, Gen Pop look at me and go, oh, look, she looks well. And then in the fitness industry, I look at myself and go, oh, my God, I'm not lean. You know, my muscle definition has gone. You've got muscle memory. You've got satellite cells. Once I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger, my body will remember exactly what it needs to do.
Of course,
and I'm okay with that. Yeah. I'm sitting comfortably with that, and that's pretty much the stage where I am now, is maintenance phase, recovering well, but being happy within myself.
I love that. And so, Charlotte, where can my audience find you if they're wanting to follow you on Instagram?
Well, you can certainly find me with my handle. It's Char_nutrition_fitness.
Amazing. I'll pop that in the show notes. And one last question. Are you ready?
Oh, gosh, yes.
So, quick, short, brief answer. The first thing that comes to your mind, what would be your advice for those listening? And this could just be like whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't have to be about what we've spoken about today. However, like what is that one thing that you would like the listeners to hear from you right now?
Find your inner peace. Absolutely find it. Whether it takes you 1 year, 5 years, or for the rest of your life, I think in order for you to be happy within yourself, then that will shine from the inside out.
That's so beautiful. I love that.
Oh,
Thank you so much for coming on today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
My pleasure. And I've absolutely thoroughly enjoyed today. It was a lot of fun. We had a few laughs before.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Before we started recording, and then halfway through, this car alarm went off and we're like, oh, like, are we not meant to record today? It was wild. So I'm glad we got there in the end.
We got there in the end.
Yes. Amazing. Well, we'll definitely have you on again soon.
Yes.
But otherwise, have a wonderful new year.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being a part of the Generation Elevation community. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to leave a 5-star rating, written review, share, and tag me on Instagram at elise.riley. Until next time, keep loving, keep learning, and keep rising.